too. Now, Miami is looking for a new offensive coordinator. Josh Gattis out. He was at Michigan, did a great job there, went to Miami. Brandon Marcello, we've had him on the show, national college football writer. He's out after 1 year on the Miami staff. This is kind of late in the process. We're seeing coaching changes, but why now? Why is he out now?
I don't know. I mean, you've got the next signing day coming up, and Miami, lost. They're one of the schools that lost, one of the two schools in Florida that lost out on Jaden Rashada. And so quarterback, maybe, trying to get a different quarterback in there, trying to attract more quarterbacks. I don't know. Josh Gattis was the Broyles Award winner a year ago. So either everybody whiffed on giving that to him, or you can't just in a year change things, and maybe he's just not a fit. Maybe it's not a fit for what he wants to do and what Mario Cristobal sees the future of that team being. And, look, much like, Dave Aranda did with Larry Fedora after year one here, when you kind of get down to it, Larry Fedora is a very accomplished coach. I mean, he's done a lot of things, but it wasn't the right fit. So if it's not the right fit, go ahead and let him go. And here's the other thing.
But that happened immediately.
It did, yeah. But, yeah, and maybe they tried to, go through and break down how they're going to approach next season. And after a couple of months, it just you kind of hit the wall. Plus, look, Michigan, the good news for Josh Gattis is his old job is open again. So he could probably go right back there, and maybe that's what Jim Harbaugh will do to try to, keep the wheels on the bus up there.
Yeah, it's strange to see, a guy who came in so, prized because of the year he had prior to already be out. But, I think you look no further than Mario Cristobal. I mean, that's where you're going to have to start looking as far as, Miami making these changes. Last year was supposed to be this grand year of, off-season acquisitions, and now the big one that they got at OC is gone after a year. The big quarterback prospect they gone, never even stepped foot on campus as an actual official, student athlete. And so it's just kind of weird how, that hype, you talk about all that off-season hype, and we're about to be right in the middle of it. Everything's going to be great. Every hire's perfect. Every recruit's going to be awesome and all of that. And there's a lot of just noise, and there was a lot of noise coming from Miami last year, if y'all remember. A whole lot of off-season noise. I feel like that's 2 off-seasons in a row, actually. There's been a whole lot of noise, and ultimately it was just static, just annoying, high-pitched static. So, I don't know who the prime candidate to come back in would be for Mario Cristobal. I don't think he's in any danger, so it's not like he's sacrificing a coordinator to appease the masses, but I do think there's element of something's got to change and something's not working right, and certainly Mario's not changing. So, Gattis is out, and that's interesting, and not a total shock, I guess, just because it's Miami, and I just kind of assume that there's, not everything's going to work perfectly, but, very intrigued by what, pivot they make now on offense, because they were not a team that was really all that interesting last year. I mean, they really weren't, especially given how much they had been, talked up in the offseason. Was expecting a lot more Miami, and they were, basically a non-factor in the grand scheme of things. And Florida State was the team in the Sunshine State that took all of the headlines. So, yeah, I mean, they're in the midst of a sea of change. Cristobal was the guy. And so I'm, then with the Rashada mess, I'm curious to see how this offseason goes and what other changes are possibly in store.
Yeah, and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Smokey, or maybe off, but Miami, if they I think a lot of their fans thought, well, look, we did NIL in the '80s back when it was illegal. We kind of all did that stuff, and because Miami's actually gotten in trouble for it a couple times, like SMU did, right? So they can just open the old playbook again, and then all the people will come back. But I do think that the difference is between getting NIL and paying players and having, a big money donor like John DeRees totally willing to do that is that you also have other places that have been better for a longer time right now and are currently better. And not only that, Miami still has to build those facilities. So you either really want to go and be in Miami and play there, or you can go to a place that has a lot of other accoutrements and also make money. So right now, Miami can really just offer the money and not maybe the total experience. So if you're trying to recruit with Georgia and Alabama and FSU and all these other places, and FSU's just now building their new one, but Auburn and the places in the SEC, LSU that have fantastic, glorious facilities, and the money's about the same, well, where are you going to go, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. It just seemed to me kind of late in the process, but there is nothing late in the process. As Dave Aranda, just 2 weeks ago, Stewart was announced as the running backs coach, and he's going to join us today. So it's just all